Hey there, presentation enthusiasts! Today we're diving into a topic that's sure to blow your mind, literally. We're talking about the Tsar Bomba, the most powerful nuclear bomb ever detonated by humankind. The Tsar Bomba, also known as the AN-602 hydrogen bomb, was a three-stage thermonuclear bomb developed by the Soviet Union during the Cold War. Now, you might be wondering, what's so special about this particular bomb? Well, let me tell you. It's not just special, it's in a league of its own. Buckle up, because this is going to be an explosive ride. The shockwave from the explosion was so intense that it circled the Earth not once, not twice, but 3 times. Windows were shattered in buildings nearly 900 kilometers away from the test site. That's like setting off a bomb in New York City and breaking windows in Chicago. To put that into perspective, about 3,333 times more powerful than the atomic bomb dropped on Hiroshima during World War II. Well, the Tu-95V bomber was specially modified for this mission. It was a stark demonstration of the Soviet Union's nuclear capabilities and served as a powerful deterrent during the Cold War. However, it also highlighted the sheer destructive potential of nuclear weapons and the need for arms control agreements. It's a part of our history that continues to fascinate and terrify in equal measure. The bomb itself may have been detonated over half a century ago, but its impact on our collective psyche and global politics continues to reverberate to this day. While it wasn't just about the survival of the plane, the focus shifted towards smaller, more accurate warheads that could be delivered by intercontinental ballistic missiles. The era of the city-buster megabombs was coming to an end. It's a story of scientific achievement, military might, and the delicate balance of power that defined the Cold War era. It's a reminder of how far we've come in our technological capabilities.
Ow.
And a warning about the responsibilities that come with such power. The scientists and military planners were genuinely concerned about the potential global consequences of such a massive explosion. The Tsar Bomba may have been the biggest bang in history, but let's hope it remains that way. After all, in the game of nuclear weapons, the only winning move is not to play. There were fears that it could create long-lasting environmental damage, potentially affecting the Earth's ozone layer or causing widespread radioactive contamination. The bomb was so large that they had to cut away part of the fuselage just to fit it in. A 100 megaton bomb would have been too heavy and unwieldy for any practical military use. Until next time, keep your presentations powerful, but maybe not quite as earth-shattering as this one. It couldn't be delivered by existing Soviet missiles or bombers, making it more of a showpiece than a usable weapon. By scaling it down to 50 megatons, they created a bomb that was still incredibly powerful, but at least theoretically deployable. And get this, even with the yield reduced to 50 megatons, the plane was given only a 50% chance of surviving the blast. The pilots were instructed to immediately turn the plane 180 degrees and fly away as fast as possible after dropping the bomb. Talk about a high-stakes mission. But here's the kicker. The original design was for a 100 megaton bomb. It said that the cloud was visible from almost 1,000 kilometers away. Just try to wrap your head around that for a moment. About 97% of its energy came from nuclear fusion rather than fission, which meant it produced less radioactive fallout than many smaller nuclear weapons. This was achieved by using a lead tamper instead of a uranium-238 tamper, which would have greatly increased the fallout. You could be standing in Moscow, and theoretically, you might have been able to see the cloud from an explosion happening in St. Petersburg. Can you imagine that? The scientists actually scaled it down because they were worried about the consequences of such an enormous explosion. Let's start with the basics. The Tsar Bomba had an unprecedented yield of approximately 50 megatons. That's 50 million tons of TNT equivalent, folks. Now, let's talk about the test detonation. On October 30th, 1961, the Tsar Bomba was dropped from a specially modified Tu-95V bomber over Novaya Zemlya, an archipelago in the Arctic Ocean. The moment of detonation was nothing short of apocalyptic. The fireball from the explosion reached a mind-boggling height of 64 kilometers. That's 40 miles up into the sky. To give you an idea of how high that is, commercial airplanes typically cruise at an altitude of about 10 kilometers. So this fireball was reaching more than 6 times higher than your average flight to Hawaii. But the spectacle didn't end there. The mushroom cloud from the explosion soared to a height of 64 kilometers and had a width of 40 kilometers at its base. The sheer power of the Tsar Bomba didn't just create an impressive light show. Now, you might be wondering about the plane that dropped this behemoth of a bomb. But why, you might ask? Did the Soviets decide to scale down the bomb from its original 100 megaton design? The decision to reduce the yield also had a practical military consideration. Despite its enormous power, the Tsar Bomba was actually relatively clean for a nuclear weapon of its size. The test of the Tsar Bomba marked the pinnacle of the nuclear arms race. In the years following the Tsar Bomba test, both the United States and the Soviet Union began to move away from the development of such large-yield weapons. Today, the Tsar Bomba stands as a testament to human ingenuity and a sobering reminder of the destructive power we're capable of unleashing. So, there you have it, folks. The truth about the Tsar Bomba, the king of all bombs. As we wrap up this explosive topic, I hope you've gained a new appreciation for the immense forces at play in nuclear weapons. Remember, whether you're re-giving a presentation on nuclear physics or just trying to captivate your audience with an incredible historical anecdote, the story of the Tsar Bomba is sure to leave an impact.